Hi everyone, and this is part one of a little series of videos I've called Grammar is Grand, and here we're going to look at basic parts of speech. So I'm hoping that you're watching this before you delve into the section of the study guide that starts looking at sentences and sentence structure. So there's five main parts of speech here that we're going to just revise and go through, and you can see them there: nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives and adverbs, and hopefully some of those words are familiar to you even if you need a little bit of brushing up on them. So let's begin with nouns and pronouns. So both of these are naming words. Sometimes in the fancy world of grammar they're called participants instead of nouns and pronouns. We're very happy if you just use nouns and pronouns. And I've got some examples there. So some nouns: pencil, computer, Wendy, bicycle, all the names of things. They name things. And here we have some examples of pronouns: I, my, her, he, they and their. And there's a bigger list of pronouns on page 39 and 40 of the study guide. So pronouns are used instead of nouns. So instead of me saying Wendy is happy today, I'd sound a bit strange. I would say I am happy today. So instead of using the noun Wendy, I've replaced it with the pronoun I. So have a good read of that section. Verbs, very important. We need them in our sentences, are called doing words. Sometimes now they're called processes as well. So they explain that something is happening or has happened. So here's some examples: drive, walk, run, write. I'm sure you can think of lots of others. And there's a fairly lengthy section in the study guide which tells us that verbs are important if you work through pages 34 to 38 doing the activities as you go. And if you get stuck with any of that, make sure you're contacting your lecturer and asking questions. Adjectives are known as describing words, and sometimes, again, in a fancy way, they're called attributes. Very simply, as you can see there, they give and add value to nouns, so they give us some more information. So here you can see some examples. Red tells us something about the car, green describes the shoes, and long describes the walk. And lastly, adverbs, also sometimes called a circumstance or circumstances, they tell us something more about verbs. So adjectives go with our nouns, but adverbs usually tell us something more about verbs. So they tell us how, when, why, or where something happened or was done. Sometimes there's more than one word, and we call that an adverbial phrase or an adverbial clause. So let's look at the examples. I walked. So walked is the verb. Slowly. Slowly is the adverb telling us how I walked. They ate lunch yesterday. Yesterday is the adverb telling us when they ate their lunch. He worked in the shed. In the shed is an adverbial phrase that tells us where he worked, and because he was hungry, he ate. So those group of words are an adverbial clause, and that tells us why he ate. So what comes next? The study guide then goes into some detail about three types of sentences that we'll be looking at: the simple sentence, the compound sentence, and the complex sentence. So as you work through the study guide and watch the next video about the simple sentence, that will take you as far as you probably need to go for week one, and we'll deal with compound and complex sentences in week two as we finish off module one.